I started telling my story on the streets, in parks, anywhere people would listen. It wasn't about fame or getting attention. It was about sharing a truth that had been forged in silence. I told them about the darkness, the long sleep, the feeling of being a ghost in my own life. The reactions were a mix of everything. Some people scoffed, others looked at me with pity. But some, a precious few, their eyes would light up with understanding. They saw the pieces of their own quiet struggles in my words. One afternoon, in a small park with a handful of people gathered around, a young girl with bright, curious eyes asked me a question that stopped me in my tracks. She said, "If you could go back and change one thing, just one, what would it be?" I didn't even have to think. The answer was already on my lips, a truth I'd come to understand in the deepest part of my soul. I would live louder, I told her. I wouldn't whisper when I should have shouted. I wouldn't let fear of judgment keep my joy, my pain, my love locked away. I would have lived so loudly that the whole world could hear my heart beating. In that moment, I realized my pain wasn't a wound anymore. It had become my message. Of course, rejoining the world after so long wasn't all deep philosophical moments. Mostly, it was just confusing and hilarious. This new world was a whirlwind of technology one couldn't comprehend. Smartphones? They were like magic rectangles that everyone stared into. My friend, trying to be helpful, handed me one. I spent a solid 10 minutes trying to figure out how to dial it. I tapped it, I shook it, I even talked to it like it was a person. He finally showed me how to swipe, and the screen came to life. It was like discovering fire. The misunderstandings were constant. I saw someone talking to their wrist and thought they were a secret agent. Turns out it was a smartwatch. I asked someone for directions, and they just pointed at their phone and said, "Google it." I had no idea who Google was, but he sounded like a very knowledgeable person. It was all so funny, these little daily battles with a future I hadn't been a part of. But beneath the humor, I noticed something else, something sad. I'd be in a cafe, surrounded by people, but nobody was talking to each other. Every single person was lost in their own little screen, their own digital world. The room would be full, but it felt empty. One day, I made a joke about my tech struggles to the barista, and a woman next to me actually laughed. A real, genuine laugh. Then the guy behind her looked up from his phone and added a comment. Suddenly, for a few minutes, our little corner of the cafe was alive. We were a group of strangers, connecting, sharing a moment of spontaneous joy. It was a beautiful, rare thing. It hit me then. Technology had grown so much, connecting us across oceans in an instant. But in the process, it felt like our hearts had shrunk. We were more connected than ever, but also more alone. We had the world at our fingertips, but we'd forgotten how to reach out and touch the person sitting right next to us. As the sun would set, casting long shadows across the city, I'd often find a spot to just watch the world go by. The city lights would flicker on, one by one, like a galaxy being born right here on Earth. And in those quiet moments, a sense of peace would settle over me. A real, profound acceptance of everything that had happened. I'd found a new purpose, speaking to young people, the ones who held the future in their hands. I'd look into their hopeful, sometimes anxious, faces and tell them the most important thing I had learned. Tomorrow is a lazy word, I'd say. It's a promise we make to ourselves that we don't always keep. We say, "I'll start tomorrow. I'll be happy tomorrow. I'll chase my dream tomorrow." But tomorrow is a myth. All we ever have is right now. This breath. This heartbeat. Don't wait for a tomorrow that might not come. Wake up now. I accept my loss. I do. I lost 10,000 days. A whole lifetime, it feels like. I can't get that back. The grief for that lost time is real, and I let myself feel it. But I don't live there, because dwelling on what's gone is just another way of being asleep. I lost 10,000 days, but today I am alive. And that is everything. It is never, ever too late to wake up and start living. Thank you for listening. If this story meant something to you, please consider sharing it. Let's wake up together.